Hi, my name is Megan. I did my social location paper and named it My Place in Society. So, what I really did with this paper was really dissect the various parts of my identity. I broke it down, really took a look at the fact that I'm a white heterosexual woman in the middle class, living in Annapolis, Maryland, able bodied, practice Catholicism. Um, those are really a lot of components of my identity, and they're interlocking, and they really make up my location in society. So, what I did was go ahead and look at gender first, and really just how it is that I knew I was a woman and the ways that those were enforced. First and foremost, I knew I was a woman because I was born female. My parents raised me as female to be a very feminine female. As we learned from the Bobby Harrow article, we learn from those we love and trust and those that are closest to us, really how we perform our gender roles. And we've also learned from the Leslie Feinberg article that anatomy is not gender. Gender is expression and gender is fluid. But in my family, anatomy did dictate your gender and the way you were to behave. One of the instances I recorded in my paper, and an example that comes to mind always when talking about reinforcing gender and how I really knew, one of the first ways was really when I went to paint my little brother's fingernails. My dad got so incredibly upset and informed me that that was a correct expression of my gender, but not so much for my brother. And, then to really hear my mom tell my dad that he shouldn't roughhouse with me and that's only to be done with my brother were really other ways in which my gender was reinforced. And also, I am a white woman. And I referenced the Peggy McIntosh article and about how the fact that I am a white woman, how these two identities intersect, and what that really means as far as having privileges and opportunities in our society and in our culture. I'm part of a both dominant group, an agent group, or a target group. The agent group is the dominant group, being white, and the target group is more of the inferior group, being a woman. So being white, we're granted certain privileges like our skin tone matching our flesh-colored Band-Aids and being able to walk into certain stores and not feel like you're being followed, or not having negative run-ins with law enforcement strictly because of your skin color. But also being a woman, kind of the disadvantages that come with that and how that overlaps with the fact that I am also white. A lot of stereotypes associated with women, especially in our male-dominated society. Things like poor leadership skills, being bad drivers, being a liability, making the choice between being a mother or having children. Those things really all are overlapping and become really complex. Then I chose to talk about a third part of my identity, my Catholicism, and really how I knew that I was a member of that faith, and just various things through praying before every meal, going to church on Sundays, and, a lot of reinforcement of these practices through fear. Being told, that if you lied, if you engaged in homosexuality, these things were severely punishable. And really horrible things would happen. So really kind of the fear that enforced my membership to that religious community. I would say more so now I'm a little more spiritual than I am religious. And lastly, I talked about the fact that I am a member of the American middle class society, which really, until reading the Peggy McIntosh article and the Langston article, really wasn't something that I thought about. And after looking back, at my values and how this maybe influences my beliefs and my practices, I realized there were quite a bit. Certain beliefs and values, just kind of phrases and things that were thrown around growing up, like, eating at California Pizza Kitchen was so much better than eating at McDonald's, and that it was okay to go to public school so long as your child was in honors. And, the fact that when I am hungry, it's not a matter of survival, but I do have a matter of choice. And really the expectation that I was to go to high school, I was going to go to college, I was going to graduate from college and, choose a career and be in a career that I deliberately chose. And, how being a part of the middle class really allocates a lot of choices to me, but also how being a white middle class woman allocates a lot of choices to me. And I did touch on my heterosexuality and really how the enforcement of my gender contributed to the fact that I am heterosexual, and with my mom wanting me to wear skirts and asking me if I had a boyfriend yet and if I liked boys and if I was dating, and certain things that really enforced, my heterosexuality and my gender role. So what I really learned from doing this paper is, the various parts of my identity don't just make up who I am, but they've really contributed greatly to the way that I perceive and interpret the world around me. It's been really interesting to realize that who I am is not so much something, that's fully a result of my actions, but really something that's been socially constructed and developed for me. And what was really interesting about finding out all of these things is that my identity, directly makes up my location in society, which was the point of this paper and was very interesting. Being a white, heterosexual, middle-class American woman who practices Catholicism, I'm in a very specific and rigid role and very specific and rigid social location. So I really enjoyed writing this paper. I hope you guys did too.